Chapter 3. Afternoon Delight. The next day, Adele affectionately fusses over your makeup as you get ready for an afternoon in the sun. A proper lady needs to look appropriate for a day of croquet, Violet. Not too windswept, but lively and energetic. Some of the gentlemen you met yesterday will be there, and maybe a few new faces. You smile as your sister applies just a hint more rouge to your cheeks, your mind drifting to a promise you made to Theo. I'm sure it will be a very pleasant way to pass the afternoon. You certainly seem to be in better spirits than yesterday. I'm making an effort for you. It's what's best for the family, isn't it? She pauses her ministrations and studies you for a moment. There is genuine gratitude in her eyes. It is, but thank you, Violet. It means more to me than you know. She gives you an encouraging smile, reaching for the powder puff, and you sit back in your chair feeling optimistic. Perhaps the journey won't be so bad now that I have someone to be excited about. Even if I do still have a face to my family's expectations. There, you're almost ready. Just one more thing. She bustles off to her own bedroom and returns with a light afternoon dress in her arms. She beams, shaking out the fabric for you to see. What do you think? Isn't it just the thing for a lively afternoon in good company? I have a very different company in mind, but I wonder what Theo would think if he saw me in this. What he might do. Sporting style. As you dress, you're struck by an image of Theo straightening the wide collar for you, his hands skimming over your breasts, or his hands running down the bare skin of your arms, making you shiver with just a touch. Theo. Well, what do you think? Oh, sorry. It fits perfectly. Of course it does. I wouldn't be much of a sister if I didn't know your tailoring measurements or your fashion's taste. We'd be better off then. I'd hate to keep the suitors waiting. You turn to head out the door, but she abruptly pulls you into an unexpected hug. Oh. Thank you for making an effort, Violet. I know it isn't what you expected from this trip, but I hope you'll understand one day. I can't promise anything, but I'll try my best. That's fair enough. She leads you through the sitting room, but the moment she opens the door out into the hall, she pauses in surprise. It seems we've gotten a delivery. She gestures at a single perfect rose lying outside the door with a note beneath it. Pick it up. The note is addressed to you. It must be from one of your suitors. She eagerly passes you the note, and curious, you read it aloud. Dear Violet, thank you again for yesterday. I had a wonderful time enjoying the view with you. Sincerely, your secret admirer. Oh, thrilling. I wonder if the note is from Lord Philip. He seems to have excellent taste. Smiling to yourself, you pick up the rose, inhaling the heady scent of its perfume. Philip and I didn't share any view. The note must be from Theo. Maybe it's a sign that I'll see him again today. Together, you head to a nearby deck and find Philippe, Gus, and Loretta setting up the croquet hoops, while a lady, Edith, sits off to one side. No sign of the Colonel. I really did scare him off yesterday. How's this look? A little more to the left, I think. Oh, there. That's just fine. That must be our last teammates. It's about time. I thought you two were going to leave me and Edith to fend for ourselves among these gentlemen. The newcomer, besides Loretta, is a tall, athletic gentleman with an easy way about him. He offers you a friendly smile as you approach. Good afternoon, all Violet. May I introduce our newest friend, Mr. Terry Coleridge. It's great to be here. Such a pleasure to have you with us, Terry. I can't wait to see what you can do. Why is Edith saying his name like I should know who he is? He's a professional baseball player. It may not be the most refined profession, but he comes from a rich New England family worth our consideration. Other gentlemen look at you expectantly, though Terry with less pointed interest than the others. I'll greet Loretta. Not wanting any of the gentlemen to mistake politeness for interest, you turn gratefully to Loretta. I'm happy to see you again, Loretta. The feeling is mutual, my dear. Tell me, how was your afternoon luncheon stroll? I do hope the fresh air was stimulating. Yes, thank you. I found it to be quite invigorating. Speaking of invigorating, I wish I had dressed more appropriately for the heat. She cast an envious look at your light, airy dress. You look so fresh and cool. Yes, well, what are we all just standing around for? Let's play. As the game begins, Terry and Gus are the clear front-runners. The gentle rocking of the deck below has a unique challenge. Oh, drat, there goes rolling across the deck again. Where's the fun in beating you folks if you're not even going to put up a challenge? You heard him, Violet. The gloves are off. Take no prisoners. I'll try. Take the perfect shot. You're just about to take the first swing when you spot a familiar figure lounging way across the deck, just out of sight from the others. In your distraction, you knock the ball wildly off course. Oh, sorry everyone, I'll go fetch it. You race after the ball, rounding a corner and find Theo picking it up. He's in an alcove with two men dressed like fellow stokers, but his face lights up as he hands the ball to you. Your fingers brush all too briefly. Thank you for catching it. Well, I couldn't just let it roll into the depths. Did you like the rose I left for you? Of course. His gaze admiringly trails down from the low dip of your collar to the bare skin of your arms, his lips quivering in a bold grin. The gaze is warm, that it feels like a caress, brushing all the places you imagine his touch when you first put the dress on. Good. I'm glad I got a chance to ask in person. You're a vision, Violet. You feel your cheeks warm at his praise and feel a much lower heat rising in at the admiration in his gaze. I hope you think so. But did you come here just to see me? He grins, lifting his eyebrows roguishly in your direction. A small thrill of excitement runs through you. Of course not. We came to the first-class deck to admire the view. You just happen to be the most beautiful thing up here. You're far too kind, Mr. Carter. But shouldn't you be working? We're on a break between shifts, but my friends were jealous when they spotted your match. He gestures toward his companions in explanation. They're both tall, strong-looking, dressed in rough work clothes. Violet, meet Samuel and Mac. Mac's gotten me out of more scrapes than I can count, and Samuel's got a good head on his shoulders. This is the famous Violet. I can see why Theo won't stop talking about you. The idea of Theo talking about you stirs a giddy feeling in your chest, but you manage to return their smiles. It's nice to meet you both. Too bad we can't try your game. Looks like your friends could use a few pointers on how to hit a ball. No offense. None taken, believe me. But why don't you all just play as well? It's not that simple, miss. I'm more of a baseball man myself, but that part of the deck and the equipment are first-class passengers only.
Unless you invited us as your guests, we could give your friends some actual competition.
He steps closer, lowering his voice to a husky murmur that only you can hear. You instinctively step towards him, drawn into his orbit.
And I bet we could find a moment to play by ourselves. Just the two of us.
Being this close to him makes you ache to be even closer, to reach out and touch, and the thought of parting makes you ache even more. Invite Theo and his friends to play. Come along then, let's make this match a bit more interesting. Mac and Samuel whoop with excitement as they all head towards your group. Theo gives you a playful smile that's for you and you alone.
It'll be much more than just interesting. I can see why you like this lady, Theo. She has a sense of fun.
You rejoin your first-class companions with Theo and his friends in tow. There you are. I was beginning to worry you'd fallen overboard. Your sisters cast a suspicious gaze over Theo, Mac, and Samuel, taking in their common clothes. Who might your new friends be? Since Gus was looking for competition, I thought perhaps these strong fellows would be a fun challenge.
Samuel and Mac here both have good batting arms, and I'm not too bad if I say so myself. Excellent. The more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned.
Gus rubs his hands together in excitement. Next to him, Terry gives an easy shrug. Sounds good to me. It's just a good aim, after all. A game with certain standards of play. He doesn't frown, but there's a slight disapproving furrow in his brow that's mirrored on Adele's face. Yes, are we sure this is the best venue for them? Consider it a chance for gentlemen to show off their skills, unless you're all afraid of a little friendly competition, that is. Philippe bristles at the implication, drawing himself up to his full height. Afraid of a few crew members? I hardly think so. And seeing the mood shift, Adele nods in agreement. All right, let's play in 2 teams then. A few of us passengers versus the crew.
But there's more of you than there are of us. So it'll be a fair game then, won't it?
Mac winks and Theo grins, clapping a hand on Samuel's shoulder in encouragement. As you hand Theo his wooden croquet mallet, your fingers brush softly against his, sparks of electricity racing through you in response.
Don't worry, Violet. I'll try to go easy on you.
His mischievous grin sends another wee wave of electricity sparking through your body. You lift your chin confidently. I wish I could promise the same. Still grinning, Theo heads off to join his friends as the game begins. You soon find your teams neck and neck.
Your turn, Violet. This is our chance to get ahead.
As the suitors watch eagerly, you bend low over the croquet mallet, lining up your shot. I'll knock the ball towards Theo, score a point. No, I'm not gonna throw. You focus, swing, and easily knock the ball through the hoop.
Hot dog! That's the spirit!
Oh, well done! Yes, wonderful shot! As the rest of your team congratulates you, you catch Theo's approving gaze across the deck.
You're a natural, Miss Violet.
The sight of his warm smile is enough to make your stomach flutter with excitement. As the game progresses, it quickly becomes clear that Theo's the most impressive player on the deck.
Alright, let's see.
He lines up his mallet behind the ball, biceps flexing, and you can see the tension of his muscles in his back. With an easy swing, Theo knocks it through the farthest hoop, and his teammates burst into cheers.
There you go, Carter. That's our boy.
Oh, well, struck.
I wish I had your arm.
As your team falls behind, Gus's mood begins to turn incessantly foul.
What a load of horse manure. It's obviously we're being grifted.
Now, no need for unpleasantness, my good man.
It's just a game, Gus, and take it from someone who's lost many of them professionally. No one likes a sore loser. Ignoring Gus's tantrum, Theo calmly takes his next swing. Sorry, Mr. Morton, but I think that's another point. Which puts his team ahead. With Gus continuing to fume as the other players focus on their turns, you sense an opportunity. Perhaps you could, show me the grip you're using, Theo. Our team could use any pointers we can get. I'd be happy to. He steps up behind you, sliding his arms around your waist to place work-roughened hands over yours, adjusting your grip on the mallet. A little lower. There. And tighten your grip. There's a small gap between your bodies, but the closeness makes you shiver. He subtly caresses your fingers beneath his. I see. Thank you. You're quite skilled with your hands. Aware of all the other passengers and Adele nearby, you resist the urge to linger in the near embrace. As you step away, you can't help raking your gaze down his body, noticing the strength of his hands, the sweat on his brow. You must be very dexterous. So I'm told, but I'm just happy that I could be of help. His eyes are brighter than usual, his voice thick with meaning. As he flexes his hands, your heart pounds a little faster. The rest of the game passes in a blur, your attention more focused on Theo than the match itself. Looks like we're 1 point up. With your team only 1 point ahead, Theo ends up in line to take the final shot. Come on, Carter. Show 'em what we stokers are made of. With an easy flex of his arms, Theo confidently swings his mallet, sending the ball straight through the final hoop. How's that, Mac? A tie. Damn it. They must have cheated. It's a difficult game to cheat at. A gentleman's pride should be able to weather such a minor setback. Then I'll leave the gentlemanly ways to you. Tossing his own mallet to the side, he angrily storms away from the group. Mr. Morton, wait. Let him go, dear. Trust me, a man like that is far more trouble than he's worth. Agreed. But as you turn to look back at the game, you spot Theo's ball still rolling across the deck, vanishing behind one of the buildings. Damn. Hit it even harder than I meant to. Would you mind helping me retrieve it, Miss Violet? Theo keeps his voice evenly polite, but he gives you the smallest of winks. Of course not. You follow Theo to a quiet stretch of the deck, hidden from view of the others, where he locates the ball in an instant. Ah, there it is. So you didn't need much help. This wasn't just an excuse to get me alone, was it? His lips curve upward, a slow, easy grin spreading across his face. His eyes sparkle with pleasure. Of course it was. An answering smile stretches across your own lips as you step closer to him, your body humming with barely a constrained anticipation. Lace my fingers through his. Not wanting to risk a kiss, you reach for his hand instead. Instinctively, he laces his fingers through yours, squeezing your hand in understanding. We should probably get back before someone misses us. You're right. We probably should. Still, it's a long moment before either of you move. You walk slowly, relishing the feeling of his bare skin against yours as long as you can. When you near the others, Theo gives your hand a final squeeze, trailing his fingers softly along your palm as he lets go. His touch sends shivers of longing through your entire body, tingling in response. Thank you for your, assistance. I'm glad I could help, Mr. Carter. I'm due back in the boiler room for my next shift after this, but I was thinking, why don't you join me? In the boiler room? Why not? I'd like to show you more of my side of the ship. If I say yes, will I learn more about the mysterious Theo? I am an open book, Violet. All you have to do is ask.
He puts his hands wide, giving you an innocent look.
But that'll be a lot easier if you come with me.
As you rejoin the rest of the group, they're all discussing the game with obvious enjoyment. I don't know about the rest of you, but I haven't had that much fun in a long time. Lorette arches her eyebrows and gives you a small wink. At least, not in public. That was nice to have some decent competition. Mac, you'll have to show me that swing again. I want to try it on a curveball.
If you'll sign a baseball card for my nephew, Mr. Coleridge, we can talk strategy all you want.
Ah, an enterprising fellow, this Mac. Despite Gus's departure, Adele looks pleased. She shoots you an approving smile before turning to the remaining suitors. That was a lovely afternoon, don't you think, Terry? A perfect afternoon, in fact. It seems everyone else enjoyed themselves, myself included, while Adele is busy. You slip off after Theo and his fellow stokers. Even though you're expecting it this time, the scorching heat and constant bustle of the boiler room are still overwhelming. While the other two stokers head off, you join Theo at one of the open furnaces, trying your best not to get in anyone's way.
Well, here we are.
He picks up a shovel, gesturing towards the nearby mound of loose coal waiting to be shoveled into the furnace.
This is most of what we do down here. Shovel coal, move coal, clean up ashes, then shovel more coal to keep the engines running.
Can you give me a demonstration? Can I give it a try? Demonstration.
Looking for a little show, are you?
Sure. I don't know what you trail off as he plunges the shovel into the mound of waiting coal, his strong forearms flexing. You watch mesmerized as he turns to load the coal into the waiting furnace, a thin sheen of sweat already coating his forehead.
Hot in here, isn't it?
You swallow hard as he lifts the bottom of his shirt to pat his forehead dry, momentarily exposing a glimpse of his flat-toned stomach. Yes, it's very odd indeed. Thank goodness I took Odell up on her offer of a light dress. So this is what you do all day. No wonder you're so strong. He laughs, tossing another shovel full of coal into the waiting furnace. You watch a bead of sweat trail down the hollow of his neck.
It's not just me. We take turns swapping in when someone needs a break. We get along pretty well down here, no matter our differences.
Differences? Do you come from all sorts of places?
All around the world, lass.
Theo nods as Samuel calls out over the hisses and clatters of the room.
Some of these boys are all from all kinds of exciting places. Me, just a poor seaside town in New England.
Theo works steadily as you talk, shoveling load after load of coal into the furnace with ease of long practice, his muscles flexing. Standing this close to him, with no Adele in sight, and the room's steam billowing around you, you feel giddily lightheaded. Is this how you ended up working on a ship, growing up and seeing them along the coast?
Something like that. I guess I saw ships as my path to freedom. A way out of my ramshackle little town to the rest of the world.
So, how much of the world have you seen?
All over. South Africa, Indonesia, New Zealand. In Australia, I once saw a spider as big as a plate.
You're joking.
I wish I was. I didn't sleep for a week afterwards.
So, where do you think you'll go next? His shovel momentarily stills, his bright gaze meeting yours as breath catches, and your breath catches in your throat as you gaze back at him.
To be honest, I can't imagine wanting to be anywhere else but here. And what about you? Where did you grow up?
Also in the Northeast, but I imagine my childhood was quite different from yours. My family's wealthy, but it was always isolating. Even more so these days, with father and mother canceling half their parties and hardly leaving the house. Suddenly aware of Theo's simple garb and hard-working men around you, you look down, toying with the fine fabric of your skirt. I'm sorry, I must sound like some spoiled rich girl. It's just that Theo leans against the shovel, resting his elbow on top of the handle. His hands are streaked with grime, his hair damp with sweat.
But what?
I've been lonely. Adele and I were closer once, but after she left to get married, well, I spent a lot of time alone. And growing up in a big house means you rarely have opportunities to leave and make friends.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Don't be. At least I had my books to keep me company. Although I have to admit, having adventures is a lot more fun than just reading about them. Next few hours pass in a blur of laughter and heat. By the time his shift ends, the Stokers are all charmed to have you in their midst.
Get this little dollar princess to join us every day, Theo. Only if he promises not to hog her all to himself.
You smile, glancing in Theo's direction. Grinning, he wipes his bare forearm across his forehead. His exertions have left him covered in a light sheen of sweat and soot, his thin shirt clinging tightly to his chest.
Don't mind them, they're just jealous.
As the Stokers finish their shift, each one stops by a large basin full of water, casually stripping their shirts to wash off the day's soot. Oh, they're just... You all wash up right here?
Of course. Otherwise we'd be walking around this whole deck covered in soot.
Your stomach flutters at the thought of water dripping down his bare chest, his flat stomach even lower, and you remember the side of the room Theo took you to yesterday, sheltered from the view by crates and boxes. If Theo needs to get clean, maybe I could help him more privately. Help Theo wash off. As Theo approaches the water basin, you stop him, picking up a bucket of water and a washcloth. Wait, come here. You coyly lead him behind a stack of crates, a little removed from the heat and the eyes of the other Stokers. Theo eyes the bucket in your hand with raised brows, his mouth quirks into an inviting smile.
What exactly are you planning to do with that?
I'll pour it over your head unless you plan to play nice. Theo's smile widens as he takes a step forward, nearly brushing against you. You can still feel the heat of the furnace radiating from his skin.
If you ask me, playing nice is overrated.
The warmth of his body next to yours makes it difficult to concentrate. You moisten your lips with the tip of your tongue, throat suddenly dry. Overrated.
Definitely overrated. Personally, I've always preferred being naughty.
Clearing your throat, you hoist the bucket meaningfully in front of you. Now take off your shirt, please. Laughing, he obliges. Your eyes widen as he strips his shirt over his head, his muscles rippling in the warm glow of the furnace light. His body is magnificent. The broad planes of his chest taper to a flat, muscular stomach, and even smudged with soot, he's the most glorious thing you've ever seen. Seeing him like this is more than I ever dared to dream of. But I didn't just bring him here to stare. You set the bucket aside and dip the washcloth into it, letting the water drip down your hands. He watches you expectantly, his eyes following every movement, his bared chest rising and falling with each breath. And dab at his face. Hold still. Reaching up, you tenderly dab at his brow, wiping the soot from his forehead. Slowly glide your fingers over his cheek, his jawline, his neck. Glance down at his muscular chest, hesitating.
Here, let me.
Taking the rag from you, Theo quickly wipes the soot from his chest, forearms flexing as he does.
There, all done.
Almost. Lifting your hand, you softly trace his lower lip with your thumb, wiping away one last trail of soot. He stills beneath your touch, his breath growing ragged. Your own pulse is thrumming wildly in your veins, your body flush with anticipation. As you lower the rag, you notice a raised scar on one side of his stomach. Theo follows your gaze down to the long-healed wound. How did you come by that?
A little souvenir from my younger years as a dock worker. Let's just say the incident involved a bottle of rum, a rusty pocket knife, and a very sore loser at checkers.
His expression grows more thoughtful as the memory washes over him.
Growing up poor, I felt like I had a lot to prove to the tougher workers there.
You reach out, tracing your finger softly over the jagged line of a scar. Does it hurt?
Not really. It still twinges occasionally. But at least it makes for a good story.
Well, sounds as though you were extremely brave. You lift up your washcloth and slowly lean closer.
Oh yes. Very brave, and also very...
You press the damp washcloth to the scar, tracing the damp fabric over the same path your fingers just traced, and he sucks in a breath.
Drunk. I was also very drunk.
You can feel the tensing of his muscles beneath your touch, and the sense of his strength, his nearness, makes your pulse leap. I'm just glad you made it out in one piece. It would be a shame if we'd never have met. He leans closer, shivering a little as you run your hand along the scar one last time. His lips just graze the sensitive skin of your earlobe, and the heat spirals through you in response, gathering between your legs.
A damn shame.
Reluctantly, you pull away, helping him finish, cleaning himself off. Your fingers brush purposefully against his as you hand him his shirt. Your touch lingers slightly too long.
Thanks for your help.
Of course, it was my pleasure. Theo straightens his shirt around his shoulders, his gaze traveling slowly over your body, lingering on the open curve of your neckline. You can't help feeling as though you're the one who's standing there half naked when Theo speaks again, his voice is low and husky.
And mine, too.
His familiar smile will make you weak with a sudden need. A stray bead of water slips down his stomach, disappearing beneath his waistband. As he starts to button his shirt, you step forward, seizing an opportunity. Let me. The air between you crackles with heat as you reach for the first button, your fingertips just brushing his bare skin as you fasten it into place. You're struck by a sudden memory of his hands on your buttons, the stolen moment in your room as he helped you dress. But as you reach for the next button, you find yourself hesitating, struck by the thought of slipping your hand inside of his shirt instead.
Violet, what do you want?
He leans in, the movement causing your fingertips to just slip beneath the fabric. With that encouragement, you can't resist. He tips his head back in pleasure as you push aside his half-buttoned shirt, sliding your hands against his still damp skin. His chest is so strong beneath your fingers, so warm, so alive. I should, and yet I want. Recklessly, you slide your hands lower and lower, tracing the outline of his muscles, brushing against the very top of the hair that trails below his waistband.
Violet.
Your noises he makes stir something deep inside of you, a throb of heat and need between your legs. You part for just a moment to catch your breath, your head is spinning with desire, your own breath coming in short, sharp pants, and Theo looks as entranced as you feel, his eyes dark with want.
Violet,
But before he can go on...
There you are, Miss Violet.
Yes, here I am. Theo hastily finishes unbuttoning the shirt as you turn to see Mac, his hair damp from his turn at the wash bucket.
I was hoping you'd join everyone for dinner in one of the third-class mess halls.
Filled up a bottle of booze, a wide grin practically splitting his cheerful face in two.
I promise our dinners are a lot more fun than your stuffy first-class meals.
That's so kind of you to offer, Mac, but you don't have to.
It's nothing. We want you to come, Violet. I want you to.
Theo smiles at you, his eyes gleaming with a warm invitation.
I've seen how people play in your world. Now let me show you how they play in mine.
Without further ado, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down to the description of the video. Plenty of ways to support this channel, this community, this family, as well as being a part of it as well, and ways to also support. Also, thank you all for watching. It means a lot. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll just say this. I typically give the male love interest about one of three voices, right? We either I'll give them kind of like my voice, but sometimes deeper. Then there is the age-old kind of like Adrian voice, and then there's the rough and kind of like a voice like this, things like this, where kind of like Bola or a couple other books that I've given. Again, I've done voices throughout these things. This time I thought I'd go with kind of like a combination of the typical like Adrian slash other voices that I've done that do the gritty kind of rough at times. So I kind of try and merge them together with a voice that I'm foreseeing or envisioning, may I say. So let me know your thoughts on the voice that I've given, our love interest, in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I always appreciate you guys' feedback, your comments, and the whole 9 yards. But with that being said, once again, thank you all for watching. Love your beautiful faces. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Have a great day.